So my question for you is, how would you like 2 extra hours every week? You can say, no, I don't want them. I want to, I'm good right now. I don't need any extra time for anything. It might sound a little bit crazy, but I'm hopeful that when I explain to you how Fastlane works and what it is, you're going to get those 2 hours back every week through using this tool. So my name is Andrea Falconi, and I'm going to talk to you about supercharging your Android app release with Fastlane. And I'm just going to tell you how you can save time, get those 2 extra hours back. A little quick bit about me. I'm a software engineer at Twitter, based in Boston. And I work on Fastlane, which I'm going to talk about today, and Fabric, which, if you were here from the previous talk, my colleague Todd spoke about Fabric. Quick show of hands, who knows what Fabric is or uses it? Cool, lots of people. What about Fastlane? Have you heard of it? Ooh, and do you use it? Okay, so a few folks, it's a perfect audience, so you've heard of it, it's in your mind, but you're not ready to use it just yet, and I think you will be in a few short minutes. Cool. So when's the last time you heard one of these pretty sad phrases? Andrea's on vacation. I was just at Droidcon Vienna 2 weeks ago, and they couldn't do the release because I wasn't there. Or, the build is broken. We can't send out an update now. Or someone comes to you demanding for the latest screenshots for the website, for marketing materials, or even just to update them in Google Play. Or you decide, that tiny little bug fix is not worth the pain of going through a release. I think we've all ran into at least one of these things one time. And I think with Fastlane, you can really eliminate these. There's a lot of problems that mobile app developers run into. We run into them ourselves at Fabric. We have the Fabric app. I also work on the Beta by Crashlytics app. We've definitely seen some of these issues. So I'm going to focus on 2 problems today that Fastlane will help you solve. So what is Fastlane? I keep saying this word. I want to say it over and over so the word sticks with you. It's a set of connectable, open source tools for building and deploying your app. Simple as that. It's the easiest way to save time and democratize your build so that every single person on your team can do a release. That's a beta release, a Play Store release. We store the knowledge. These lights are driving me crazy. We store the knowledge in configuration files so that it's not all up here. When I go on vacation, I don't take that knowledge with me. It's open source, as I mentioned, so it's fully extensible. You can add functionality to Fastlane. We have an amazing community. A quick background on Fastlane. It got started as an iOS tool primarily. Who here also develops iOS apps? A couple of folks. So the pain of developing for iOS can be much harder than some of the Android challenges that we have, especially around code signing. And that's where Fastlane got its start, managing certificates, provisioning profiles, and built an ecosystem around that for deploying apps to iTunes Connect and the developer portal. And we had Android developers saying, but I want this tool too. I want it to automate all of those things. And so Twitter acquired Fastlane just about a year ago now, and we started building out the Android side of things. So what is it? I mentioned it avoids human error by storing all of the information in configuration files. It gives you reproducible builds. You check those files into Git. Any person on your team can do a release. And it's reusable. You set it up one time, and every time it's one click to do the deploy that you want. I don't have time today to cover all of the different things that Fastlane can do, but I am going to cover 2 different topics, specifically doing a beta deployment and a Google Play release. So for a beta deployment, let's start with an example. Has anyone ever had the CEO, founder of the company come up to you and say, I need the latest version of the app? Either it's for clients, they're going to meet VCs, money, the future of the company depends on you putting the bits on their phone, okay? I think that we've all run into something similar to that. It's important, they must have the latest release right now. Could every engineer on your team, at your company, do that for this person? If not, with Fastlane, they can. So if you do this process manually, here are some steps that we go through, right? Got to bump the version, got to make sure that you have the latest version number in there so that you can see any crashes that come through on something like Crashlytics. Got to make sure that info gets back into Git or wherever. Then you've got to actually build the dang thing. That could take, 10, 20 minutes with Gradle? How long are your crazy Gradle builds? Anybody? Got a minute? Whoa! All right, you're doing something right. All right, so they might be a minute. They could be 10 like ours. What if we could, all right, oh, hold on, I've got more steps, sorry. There's more steps, we're not done with this yet. You gotta upload it, you gotta put it somewhere, whether that's on a phone, on a site, through email. We all do that. Slack it to ourselves. You ever sent yourself an APK via something you've got on here to something on here, tweet it to you, whatever. You gotta add release notes to make sure people know what they're looking at. Distribute it, get it into the hands of people, get them to actually download it and install it on their phone. And communicate that that went out. Send a message to your CEO, your founder, your teammates, through Slack, through Twitter, through email, however. All right, so those are the steps. We're gonna try to automate those using Fastlane. So what is Fastlane? Fastlane is backed by a configuration file called a fast file. It's a really simple, easy, readable instruction file. And the instructions are executed in order, one after the other. If one step fails, the rest of the process won't go on. So you might have running the tests as part of your build process. If the tests fail, it won't go on to upload your APK. Great. So setting up a fast file, did I miss? Sometimes my slides are a little bit slow for me. Let's go back this, oh. We're gonna have to wait for the animation again. I try to get really cute with my animations, and then I have to wait for them when I screw up the slide order. Well, let's just talk about it again. Things operate in order. Okay, great. There we go. Okay, getting set up with Fastlane. It's as simple as running Fastlane init. And what that does is it adds this folder called Fastlane and an app file and a fast file. It's going to ask you a series of questions, such as, do you plan to upload this to Google Play? If so, please tell me where your JSON key file is in order to authenticate. What's the package name for uploading? It's going to ask you a few questions like that in order to get you set up. And then you've automatically got these things generated into your apps folder. So going back to our initial goal, how can we turn these steps into Fastlane steps? Just a quick reminder, we had 7 of them. Okay, so the first thing, this is an actual Fastlane lane. The first thing that we do is increment the version code. And then you commit that version bump, and you push it to Git. Each one of these things listed out here is a Fastlane action. Some of these are built in, and some of them are contributed via the community through our plugin system. All right, and then you build. You build using Gradle. So your existing build as it is today will work using Fastlane. We think Gradle does a great job at building apps, so we just shell out to Gradle given a task, or you can also pass it a flavor or a build variant. However you need to call into Gradle, you can do it through there. Then you can generate a changelog through the Git commits. You can pass all of these actions various options. I'm using the most basic flow so you can get an idea for it, but they all have some same defaults under the hood, but you could pass changelog from Git commits to Git JAWs, 2 different Git tags. You can say from the current to the previous, however you want to generate your changelog. So this is just going to go through and gather up your commits. And in this case, we're doing a beta. I chose to use a service like Beta by Crashlytics. Some of you might be familiar with it. I work on it and love it. Oh, don't bang your microphone. But you can use a number of other services. And then on our team, we use Slack. So I would communicate out the message, hey, I posted a beta build. Go check it out. You could also use Supply, which is the Fastlane tool for uploading to Google Play beta. And you could use HipChat instead of Slack. There's tons of built-in actions. I think there's something like 170 actions built into Fastlane, and a bunch more contributed by the community through the plugins to work with all the services that you're currently using for your team today, just automated. Cool. So there are our steps, just like that. So they don't look like anything is connected here, but under the hood, all of these actions are talking to each other. How does the Crashlytics action know what APK? I only told it who to distribute to. I didn't tell it what to actually distribute. Well, that's because just before it, I ran the Gradle action. That Gradle release build has a release APK in a known place. It stores the location of that in memory, what we call a lane context, but basically through environment variables. And then the Crashlytics action says, hey, was anything built recently? Great, that's the thing I'm going to distribute. Alternatively, you could pass it an APK at a given location, you can give it the parameter, but we try to make it stupidly easy to start out with so you don't have to do that extra work. The same thing for the changelog. When I send out this build, the changelog for Crashlytics is also going to come from that changelog from git commits. It stores it in memory in a place where Crashlytics knows to find it, and then it's going to go send it out. Cool. So we try to connect all of the actions as much as we can. We put them in sort of generically named environment variables, these lane contexts, so changelog or release APK, and then new actions or existing actions are free to pick from those as default values for the parameters. So when it's finished, this is my lane, as you can see at the top. Fastlane sort of has a kind of driving metaphor, loosely. So we wrap all of these things up in a thing we call a lane. So when I go to invoke this, it's really simple. It's just 2 words. Fastlane, beta. Beta was the name of the lane that I had written there. Should we see it in action? This is probably going to go pretty quickly, but it's a GIF of me running that exact lane that I had just shown you. The font's kind of small. You don't need to see everything here, but the idea is you're going to see all of the inputs and outputs. Every shell-out call that Fastlane makes will be printed out. The output of those tools is going to be printed out on screen. You're going to see the parameters that gets passed to everything, so you can see how data is going in and out of each of the actions. All right, so I'm going to run this and see if it can go. There we go. All right, so it starts out by bumping the versions. It's committing it. It's pushing to Git. Now it's got a Gradle. It's going to be here a little while. My build takes a little bit. You can see all the beautiful output from Gradle that we're used to. Great. It gathered the change logs. It grabbed all the different version bumps and whatnot. It sent it off to Crashlytics. It posted it to Slack, and it's done. So there's a box at the bottom that tells you how long this took to do. I sped up my GIF for effect, but it took 20 seconds to Gradle and then another, 5 seconds to send out the build. 26 seconds, and a beta just went out. It's a lot faster than I can do anything with any web console or any other tools that I have available to me. So, cool. And it's not a shoddy beta. I didn't just grab whatever I had on my computer and send it off to someone. It's fully done. The version is there. You could tag it and put it in Git however you choose to do your beta. The same process every time. And any person on your team can do it. I start at your company tomorrow. I'm like, hi, can I send the beta to the founder? You're like, oh no, I can't trust you to do that. With Fastlane, you can. You tell them the one command to run on their machine, and they can do it. We can do it from CI. So, happy. There's your 2 hours back, by the way, if you wanted those 2 hours every week. I don't know how many betas you send out, but it could have easily taken 2 hours to get a beta out the door. So, you're free to use those 2 hours for whatever you want. You want a long lunch today or knock off early for a beverage. You do you with your 2 hours. Cool. Put that in version control. Off we go. Great. Okay. That was our beta process. Super smooth. Awesome. But now it's release day. This is for real. Okay, we're not playing here. We're not sending it to our friends and family. It's going out to the world. It might be the first time your app goes out, or maybe it's just another release for your app with millions of users. It's super exciting. We want to get all of our hard work out there. But why do we spend so much time doing the actual release, right? The hard part is coding. It should not be clicking buttons and sending binary files out to people in the world. But that is what we spend our time on. So let's reduce the barrier and make this a process that any person on your team could do. It sounds a little scary, but I promise it's not. So part of the release process is sending or generating screenshots for your app. If you do this right, Every time you publish a new version of your app, you should update the screenshots, because it's likely that something has changed. The UI has changed. You support a different type of device. You've added a new language. But in honesty, who does screenshots every time they push out a release of their app? Okay, there are no hands up. No one puts out screenshots every time they do a release of their app, because it takes so much freaking time, right? How do you make them today? You find some buttons on the screen, right? Contort your hands. Maybe do you ever get screenshots with the volume down in them? You're like, oh, awesome screenshot, except for that thing at the top that I have to crop out. Or did you know that on certain, I think it's Galaxy devices, you can use your whole palm to swipe and get a screenshot? It's ridiculous. Oh, and sometimes you've got that I just took a screenshot icon in all of your screenshots. Those look great for your marketing site. No, I don't like it. Maybe you use the Android screen capture tool. Plug it in and hit the button to grab the screenshot every time. Do you ever get a screenshot of your desktop or your home screen instead of your app? Or the background time that you didn't have, don't turn off my screen while I'm debugging, turn on. You've got 10 black screenshots. These are the best. People love these. No. It's hard. It's hard to generate screenshots the right way, all of them every time. And then once you've gotten them, you've got to get them into the right places, the right buckets. So we're looking at Google Play console here. You've got to upload your phone screenshots, your tablet screenshots, your TV and your Wear screenshots, also your icons and your feature graphics, all of these different things well, not all of them every time, but you've got to get all of these into the right places. It's hard. Just to give you an idea, if your app supports 10 languages and those 4 device types, phone, tablet, Wear, and TV, and you only generate 5 screenshots for your app, quick math, it's 200 screenshots. That's so freaking many. I'm not going to do it every time. So let's figure out a way to generate them and upload them into the right places automatically. So I want to introduce a tool called Screen Grab. Has anyone heard of this? Okay, so new for most folks. It's a Fastlane tool that I helped write that generates beautiful screenshots in an automated fashion. We tap into espresso tests. So use espresso to navigate around the views of your app, get to the right screen, take a screenshot. All right, so you might have written this yourself already. A lot of people have done something very similar. Maybe you use Spoon. There are other libraries out there that can do this. It's just using a JUnit runner under the hood. You can specify which runner to use if you have something custom, or you can use a standard one out of the box. And after it runs, it's going to go collect all of those screenshots off the device for you, because that's also a pain, pulling the screenshots off if you've captured them using some other tool, and put them in the right place for them to be uploaded. So let's take a quick look at how this works. So we're going to run the screen grab command. There it goes. And it's going to go off and start uploading APKs. It's going to upload the debug APK, the test APK, and run the tests. And then it's going to switch the locale of the device programmatically and run the tests again. And then it's going to open all your screenshots for you. Now, again, this was sped up for effect. Depends on how long your tests take to run, how many screenshots you have. But the cool thing is you can do this on CI. You can run it on a real device, on an emulator. You can start it and go out to lunch if you've got a lot of screenshots to generate. Right, there's your time back again. If you want to use this time for browsing Twitter, Reddit, chatting with your friends, let this do the work, and you can do something more interesting. Cool. All right, we've generated our screenshots. Now there is some work to get your existing tests set up with Screen Grab. You've got to put that one call into the right place, and tag them appropriately so you know what they are. But I think it's super easy. Also included in Fastlane is an action for ADB. So if you want to generate your screenshots for different devices, you can say ADB select my phone device or my tablet device, whatever's connected via USB or whichever emulator is running if you've got multiple going. So you can see how you could automate that in a loop to generate all of the screenshots for all the different device types if you wanted to do that as well. Cool. We have buttoned up our release. This is great. We did our screenshots. Everyone's happy. But now we've got to actually get it out there. We still haven't deployed anything. So let's do that. Google Play Console, dear friend. It's a lot of information required here. Lots of boxes, lots of drop-downs. One of my favorite things, and by favorite I mean not favorite, is that your what's new, your changelog, the thing that your users see that's super important for them to know what's changed, is buried at the bottom of this dialog. You gotta go find that thing every time and paste the text into it, change the language, paste the text into it again. Not my favorite at all. A lot of stuff is required. This is the list of things that is required when you just drag your first APK into the Play console to get started. Here are the things that you need to fill out to get going. This is super frustrating for first-time developers, or your first time you're publishing your app. And for seasoned folks, you're like, oh, that thing again. And it's frustrating every single time. So I mentioned supply a little earlier, and I just want to go into a little more detail on what supply is and how it works. So it's a Fastlane tool that interacts with Google Play through an API, so you don't have to waste your time navigating the site. Getting set up with supply, just like with Fastlane, is super easy. You run supply init, and what that does is it downloads all of your existing metadata from Play into the right directories. So the description, the title, all of your screenshots, everything comes down into this metadata directory. The reason it's in this directory structure is because when you run supply again, it's going to upload everything out of that directory structure as it expects those things to be in those places. So let's take a quick look at supply actually running. My GIF is going to go by pretty quickly, but you can see a parameter table at the top, all the things that are being passed into supply. And it's just going to go through locale by locale, uploading the screenshots, the APK, all the various parts and pieces that you want to do, that you want to put out in your production deployment. And that's it. Off it goes. And so I mentioned it knows where the APK is because I had done a Gradle release prior, or I could pass in APK parameter. All it needs for authentication is that JSON key. We've got instructions on the README on how to get that through the Google Play console. Can't automate that because you need authentication to actually get to that. You need to be logged in. That one's a pain, and oh, don't bang my microphone. That's a pain, and I'm sorry that I can't solve that problem for you, but we'll tell you how to navigate which drop-down to go to, what service account type to set up to generate the right JSON. Cool. So we can make a release lane, like we made a beta lane, that builds the debug and test APKs with Gradle, runs screen grab for 2 locales, then it goes in, cleans out the directory, runs assemble release to make your release build, then runs supply and uploads everything. So if we just run Fastlane release, that's it. That's how we do it. Do you want to see this go? Oh, did I go too fast? Go back here. Is it going to start? I am not in control of my GIFs at all. There we go. Now it's going. All right. So this is that release lane that I just showed you. It's off and running. So it's going to build. It's going to run screen grab. We've seen all of these parts and pieces work individually, but I just want to show you that you can run them one after another to actually automate the release process. So right now it's running the screenshots. I should have captured the output on here as well, but I did not. It's going to Gradle. Gradling takes a while, but we'll be patient. We're patient. We wait for it every time anyway. So, okay, there you go. Now it's off to supply. It's uploading all the metadata that it just generated. Now I can take a drink. Sweet. There we go. So I haven't done the math on this one yet, but it's like a minute, somewhere between a minute and a half to actually do the upload. How long does it take to do a release today from start to finish for anybody? Shout it out. Does it take a minute? At
least an hour.
An hour? Yep. Anybody else? A while, right? So here's your time. I'm giving it back to you. You can use this to, I don't know, see your family or hang out with your friends. Automate it all with Fastlane. Cool. So just a quick reminder of some of the crappy things that we deal with as developers. Fastlane can solve a lot of these problems for you, in addition to the two that I really focused on today. So Fastlane has a lot of built-in actions. I showed you some of them today. If you want to see the actions that are available for Android, you just run Fastlane actions, give it the Android platform. These ones, there's also some that are very specific to iOS. There's a lot that are very generic. Slack, HipChat, Twitter, Mailgun, these all work with any platform. And then you've got your Gradle. Gradle's on there twice, because it's awesome. Gradle, ADB, these are all Android-specific actions. There's currently over 80 available today. And if the built-in things weren't enough for you, you can go and look for plugins that are out there. These are just some of the plugins that have been created by the community, the open source community. And so the things that I showed you with incrementing the version code and committing the version bump, those are actually contributions from other folks outside the Fastlane team. People are really excited about Fastlane for Android. We haven't spent as much time on it because it's newer, but the community is quickly catching up and doing a lot of the work for us, so thank you. I'm very excited to see the platform grow. There's over 50 plugins available right now, and the plugin system's only been available for like 2 or 3 months. Sweet. So getting started with Fastlane is super easy. It's made available as a Ruby gem. You gem install Fastlane, and then you've got all the parts and pieces that you need. How does it work? Well, Fastlane wraps the tools that we know and love, just sort of sits on top of them. You're still using Gradle under the hood. We're using ADB to talk to connected devices. We use an API, a publicly available API for uploading to Google Play and iTunes Connect on the iOS side. Login information is either stored in your keychain or environment variables or a JSON file on disk so that you could share this with teammates if you chose to. You could check in that JSON file, which you might not want to put that in Git. Maybe you want to pass that around or store it only on CI. And it's super configurable and portable. Run on any machine. Just pack up your fast file with you and off you go. I'm going to try to do a live demo. We'll see if the internet gods are with me today. So quickly going to switch over to mirroring, and I hope that this looks nice on the live stream. So let's see what we're going to do. Cool. Bump that up a little bit so you can see it in the back. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run Fastlane. Let's bundle exec this, make it go a little faster. Fastlane supply init. What this is going to do is download all of that metadata. So I've got this app, Hello World Test App. This is my app for testing Fastlane. It's going to download this metadata from Google Play if I'm correctly connected to the internet here. Sweet. All right. See what we got. Let's open the Fastlane metadata directory. Ooh, this is teeny tiny, and I can't make it any bigger on here, but just to show you all the things that I expected to come down, all those files, they're all in here. Superb. Okay. Let's open our fast file. Great. All right. When you get a fast file generated by Fastlane by running a init, it contains some really basic stuff that's just like Gradle, or send it to Crashlytics, or upload it with supply. This is the release lane that I showed you in the slides. It's going to do exactly that. Build it, take screenshots, build it again, and then upload this to Google Play. And just to prove that this is a real live demo, let's see. I have no screenshots in here right now. All right. So let's do this. Release. So I'm running Fastlane, running the release lane. Demo gods be with me. So this is going to Gradle for a bit. So a lot of folks ask, why is this not a Gradle plugin? It's a fair question. Building Gradle plugins for the Android community makes a lot of sense. We have a Crashlytics or Fabric plugin. But we think that Fastlane does more than just build your app. It interacts with a lot of other tools and stands outside of Fastlane, outside of Gradle. If Gradle were to go away as the build tool for Android tomorrow in favor of some other tool chain, Fastlane is still going to be there for you. As an Android developer, I've written Java my whole life. Oh, there were no connected devices. That's not true. Oh, well, here we go. Let's live debug this. That's true. It doesn't think my device is connected. Come on. That's sad. Well, this live demo might not be with us today. I couldn't get an emulator to run earlier either. I'm going to take 3 seconds and try to make this go. And if not, I can show you one-on-one after if anybody wants to see it. Turn off debug, turn back debug mode. Yes, please. Oh. Yeah. Oh, get out of here. All right. Let's just kill Visor. Anybody else use Visor? Yeah, super cool, but it's obviously not happy with running this. So it is going to take the screenshots on my phone, so I'll have to hold up my little teeny phone for you to see, but we'll see them when they get to Google Play anyway. So, Lord. What's it doing? Well, it's chugging. It's chugging on. All right. Oh yeah, I was talking about Gradle. So yeah, we think that Fastlane stands outside of Gradle. Folks, even as recently as this morning, asked in chat, why don't we build a Gradle plugin? And yeah, we think that the reason is it just does more. I wouldn't want my whole build process to be tangled up with Gradle. Gradle is not very fast. We're taking advantage of shelling out quickly to ADB here. So those are the reasons. I'm happy to chat more about it with anyone if you've got suggestions or thoughts about it. Like I said, it is an open source tool, and we have a really great community. And so we take advice from other Android developers for what we think is best for building this tool. Oh, there's my screenshots. Sweet. Let's go back to this. So now we're going to build it in release, because I don't want to send out any of my debug code. And I will make no further excuses for Gradle and its speed. OK, supply. Off we go. It's uploading everything to Google Play now, those screenshots that just generated. It put them in the right directory. It's going to upload them for every language. You saw that, maybe you didn't see. Let's see if I can switch over to preview. It's a little hard to see here. Can I make these bigger? OK. English, replace with your own action. French, there you go. Replace with your own action. That's a quick translation for you. All right, supply finished. So would this take closer to 2 minutes for this one? Let's go to Chrome and refresh. Superb, there are my screenshots. A little hard to see them, but when I switch languages, there they are. And replace pixels. It says replace with your own language, with your own action in French. Cool. That was it. I just did a production release or a beta release or whatever that quickly. All right. Let's go back to the slides. Sweet. Cool. There's a lot of people using Fastlane right now, a lot more folks on the iOS side. I took this screenshot 2 weeks ago, and this number of developer hours saved just ticked over 4 million. We celebrated that yesterday. So a lot of people are using it, and we're super excited to build our community. If you want to get started, you can go check out all of the code available on GitHub, Fastlane. We're really proud of the over 500 contributors that we have on the project currently. And we crossed 11,000 stars on GitHub, which if anybody follows stars or if it matters to folks, it's quite a few. If you want to see examples of how to use Fastlane, there's a repo where external people using Fastlane have contributed their fast files back to the project so that people can see how to use the tool. We also recently updated our docs to this sweet doc site, docs.fastlane.tools, so you can see it all there as well. So thank you. I hope you can all go and get started with Fastlane today. I'm here for the next 2 days. I'll be at the booth, as well as a few of my colleagues. Todd mentioned there's like 6 of us here. We want to know what works for you, what doesn't work for you, help you get started. You can get us on Twitter at Fastlane Tools, or me personally, AS Falcone on Twitter. I want to know how it's working for you, and if it's not, I want to help fix your problem. So thanks. I hope that everybody can use those 2 or more hours a week that I gave back to you. Spend it with your family and friends. Work on features in your app instead of just deploying the damn thing, or grab a beer, whatever. So thanks, guys.